There are 5 mistakes that even the biggest self-improvement YouTubers are falling for. I call them self-improvement traps, and I'd be willing to bet a lot of money that you've fallen for almost all of them at some point. Let's explore each one, and most importantly, how you can overcome them. First up is contempt for regular people. I can't believe this is so controversial to say in this community, but average is not necessarily bad. Do you realize that a few thousand years ago in the city of Sparta, the average was to be a strong, fearless, and brave warrior? Nowadays, the average is a lot less impressive, but it doesn't say anything about the people themselves. We're still the same species as 2,000 years ago. That means every person you look down on because they play video games or they don't watch books could have been a Spartan if they were born in the right era. So what the hell am I trying to say here? Every single human on Earth has a tremendous amount of potential. Your environment dictates who you end up becoming. And so if you've been lucky enough to escape the grasp of modern society and rise above the average, it is your job to help the people around you. Show them what's possible, inspire them to improve, create an environment that brings out the best in others. The ultimate goal of self-improvement is to become a better, more empathetic and understanding version of yourself. When you start to see others as inferior, you're missing the very essence of self-growth, which includes kindness, acceptance, and humility. Overcoming this trap is simple. You must realize the inherent value and potential in everyone you meet. And guess what? This will only help you. If you truly believe that everyone has something to teach you, then you will learn things that you could have never even considered, and it will accelerate your progress. You have nothing to gain from thinking that other people are stupider than you. Look any man in his eyes and realize that you're literally looking at a Spartan. Isn't that amazing? The next trap is thinking that the goal of self-improvement is getting higher quality things. Upgrading your life, that's the point, right? Why else would you quit bad habits, adopt beneficial ones, if not to go from a Toyota to a BMW, from a 5 to an 8? This trap is very common, and it will cause all sorts of problems. First of all, you'll never upgrade to a happy life. There's always a prettier girl, there's always a bigger house, there's always more followers to be gained. You'll end up in a cycle of getting higher quality things, thinking that's the goal of your life. Also, putting all your effort into improving your material circumstances will make you overlook the deeper aspects of self-improvement. If your focus is on getting better girls, better cars, better vacations, you've missed the point. So how do we avoid this trap? Right now, you think success comes from material pursuits, but where does that belief come from? Does it come from you? Or does it come from all the online influencers who flash their Lambos and their attractive girls in your face all day? Stop watching influencers who promote this superficial and empty lifestyle and redefine what success means to you. To me, self-improvement is about living by certain principles. It's about how much control I can have over my emotions. It's about how many people I can help. I'm not too worried about upgrading my life, because I can see how that will lead to a downward spiral of dissatisfaction and emptiness. The next trap is focusing too much on the end goal. This is the most common one. Is there a problem with setting goals? No, until there is. In the self-improvement community, it's often seen as normal to sacrifice multiple aspects of your life for the end goal of reaching your dream life. For example, monk mode is a period lasting anywhere from 1 to 3 months where you lock in. Anything that doesn't bring you closer to your end goal is ignored, put to the side, or sacrificed. A lot of people will say that's worth it. After all, if one day you reach your goal, then you'll be able to make up for all the time you didn't spend with your family, deepening your relationship with your God if you're religious, or taking care of your health. There's a few problems with this idea. The main one is that you will never arrive at your goals. I spoke about this in my first point, but the goalposts will always keep moving. Forever. When you reach 10K a month, you'll realize you need 20K. When you finally get a girlfriend you're attracted to, you'll think, oh, if only she was a little bit prettier, then I'll be satisfied. And so if you sacrifice the present moment and focus too heavily on the end goal, you're basically taking for granted your current life for a future that will never exist outside of your own head. Being too focused on the end goal is also a great recipe to destroy your self-worth. Look, I know you don't want to hear this, but there's a real possibility that you won't achieve your goals. And if your confidence and self-acceptance relies too heavily on whether or not you achieve a goal, then you're setting yourself up for a very unhappy life. To avoid this trap, please learn from the people who have achieved their goals. Let me show you a few clips real quick.
25 years old, I got millions of followers. I retired my family. I built the physique that I was really proud of. And I was miserable.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago, at 26 years old, I sold my software company for millions of dollars. And for some reason, I feel nothing. What I'm learning now at this stage of my life is that none of this external shit matters at all.
Here you have two examples of literally thousands of men who have achieved their goals and yet they feel no different as you and me. Please understand that if you reach the perfect net worth, the perfect woman, the perfect house, you will still be in the exact same mental state as right now. Difficult to grasp and accept, but it's the truth. Next trap is blindly following all the advice a YouTuber gives. If your goal is to get rich, then at first glance, it would seem logical to follow a rich YouTuber's advice. And if your goal is to get girls, just listen to a YouTuber who slept with more girls than you've spoken to. After all, they must know what they're talking about. If you follow their advice, you're gonna get the same results, right? Oh, that's a big trap. I once heard Hamza say that his job is basically to go out into the world, learn as much about money, girls, social skills, fitness, and then report back to us and teach us what he's learned. There's so many problems with this idea, I don't even know where to start. First off, Hamza can make mistakes when he interprets and shares his lessons. We've all seen how many times he's changed his mind about so many subjects. Is that really someone you should blindly take advice from? Also, your life is very different to Hamza's, so what works for him might not work for you. Finally, he might have just gotten lucky. Maybe whatever he achieved and is now trying to teach you is not because of some special knowledge that he learned. Maybe he was just in the right place at the right time. His advice would basically be worthless at that point. Now, this is not an insult to Hamza. This applies to any YouTuber. To avoid this trap, take advice from multiple sources. Use critical thinking. Really ask yourself, is this information right? Does it apply to me, to my specific goals and set of circumstances? Also, if you blindly follow a YouTuber's advice because you see how good his life is and you want that life too, then just remember this. He's only showing you the good parts. So stop putting him on a pedestal. The final trap is staying in the learning phase for too long. This trap can be deceiving. When you're watching a YouTube video on how to make money or reading a book on social skills, it's very easy to feel productive, to feel like you're making progress. You're not. The learning phase is comfortable, familiar, and even entertaining. And this leads to many problems. It leads to procrastination, where you convince yourself that you haven't learned enough yet to start. You think that you're missing some key information that will accelerate your progress and that you might be one video away from finding it. Staying too long in the learning phase also leads to information overload. You don't know where to start because of all the different point of views that you've heard and read about. You're paralyzed. The easy solution would probably just be to watch less self-improvement content, but I know you're not gonna do that. So instead, I would like you to admit this one truth. The self-improvement videos that you watch are for entertainment. You enjoy listening to people talk about making money. You like to feel like you're making progress. You like to feel motivated. It's all just for fun. When you admit this, you stop bullshitting yourself. You accept the learning phase for what it is, a very brief period that precedes the much longer and productive action phase.